Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Nigerian Now on Echo Television, where we keep you updated with some of the happenings that are going on currently in the country. We have quite a number of them. We would love to touch one or two stories. Hopefully, before our time elapses, and you can contribute as well through Facebook and YouTube. Drop your comment and your views on any of the issue we will discuss this afternoon. I'm Sela Elisha Nashon. I'll bring the program with Rachel Tanzi. Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
Rachel.
Sarah.
All right, without much waste of time, let's go straight to the discussion for today, which we would love to start with the creation of the new ministry that have been created by the president. Talking about the Ministry of Livestock.
Yes.
And we know this conversation has been going on for a while now, since last year, 14th of September precisely, was where we saw more like a committee was being recommended to the president to set up that ministry, especially concerning to resolve the issue of farmers headers clash, which has been going on for a very long period of years right now. It didn't just start with this administration, neither did it start with the former. I think we can go back to the Goodluck Jonathan's regime. That is where we started having those pockets of attack, where we have clashes between farmers and headers, and
Yes.
people have tried to see what are the recommendations, which I mean a number of people have said that, you know what, these headers are not just normal headers, especially if we're talking about those attacking farmers, because those are terrorists that have sworn that they would not let farmers to actually harvest their produce from the farm. And then we're seeing that even Miatiala air out their view as well concerning that. We saw Gumi also saying the same thing, and then finally we're seeing that the president have set up that ministry, even though a number of people are saying maybe the former INEC chairman will be the minister for that. But then, until then, we're yet to hear an official announcement stating the fact that he will be the minister. So there is a ministry, but then we do not have a minister. Now, the question Nigerians will ask, why a livestock ministry? Number one. Secondly, are we sure that this will be able to handle this issue of farmer headers clash? Another thing is the fact that we've heard a number of people talking about the fact that cutting down the cost of governance. We're seeing a number of people coming out say, you know what, let us merge MDAs, because there are certain MDAs that are existing and they are more like dual purposes. So why not just have them come together and all of that? But here we're seeing that, I mean, we now have this new ministry. So Nigerians can actually air their views about it. Of course, I know everybody will have what they want to say about it. Just like I said in the morning, Nigerians are just trying to make jokes out of this. But I know that a number of people, this issue or this new ministry will really, really trigger a number of reaction coming from a number of people concerning whether this is the right way to handle the issue of the farmers' headers clash.
Sarah, if you are creating a ministry that is targeted at solving a problem that has been existing for a very long period of time and is between two parties, farmers and herders, it shouldn't be a ministry of livestock. It should be a ministry of farmer herders affairs. Just like how we have the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. This should be a ministry of farmers and herders affairs, because that's solely the reason behind this ministry in the first place. Why is it a ministry of livestock? I believe Nigerians are trying to wrap their head around the reason behind the ministry, and secondly, the name of the ministry. We're talking about solving a farmer's headers clash issue, and you're calling it a ministry of livestock. Then it means it's clearly just a ministry for headers, because you are now sidelining the other party in this problem, and most especially the victims of this problem. Because we don't have farmers going to headers. I mean, where are they even going to go to them? Because farmers are fixed, headers move.
Move around.
So who are the victims here? It is the farmers. So if there's any ministry, I believe should be more of the ministry for farmers, because they are the ones in this situation that needs protection. If the government of Nigeria will be honest to themselves, farmers are the ones who need protection, because they are the ones that have been attacked in their own farmlands. They are the ones that have lost their crops. They are the ones that have to pay terrorists to be able to access their farms and all of that. So who are the victims of this situation? It is the farmers. Hence, they are the ones who need protection. So why are we having a ministry of livestock rather than a ministry of farmers, herders affairs, or herders farmers affairs? However it is going to be tagged, why does it not look inclusive but one-sided? And this is where I just can't help but wonder, does the Tinubu's administration know what they're doing? Because I know Nigerians would agree that, first of all, farmers herders cash by its nature is terrorist in nature. It is land grabbing in nature. It's chaotic. It has claimed a lot of life. It is criminal in every sense of it, because if the farmers are not being killed on their farm, they are paying ransom, they are paying fees to be allowed to farm and all of that. And literally the federal government would open or start a ministry that already sidelines the victim and call it the Ministry of Livestock. Well, I hope that the federal government is listening and hearing the Nigerians out and do right by farmers, because I don't see why there should be a ministry called Livestock Ministry with the intention of solving a problem between herders and farmers, and then the victims who have majorly been affected by these situations are not captured in this ministry as it seems now. So perhaps the federal government, first of all, will rename this ministry. So in my opinion, it should be a ministry for farmers and herders affairs. Aside from that, also, it should be structured in a way that, first of all, the victims are protected. So if that is not put in place, there is no need whatsoever for farmers exactly to have that ministry. And with everything at the end of the day, Sele, I believe that a ministry is, by the way, when it comes to solving the issue between herders and farmers, because you know what is communal. I've said it is terrorist in nature. There's land grabbing involved. So is it a ministry that is expected to solve these, or other measures that are supposed to be put in place? Because we are looking at communities that are being attacked, and a lot of times the victims, yes, are farmers, but we also have other victims of the communities being affected. So is it really a problem of just farmers and herders, or does it happen to be that farmers are the most vulnerable because they could be secluded, they are in the outskirts, they are doing their thing, so it makes them easy target? I mean, if the Nigerian government would be honest too itself with the real underlying issues concerning the farmers, herders, and clashes as they decide to take it, what we all know is beyond that, except if they're going to be honest and truthful about the real problem and how to solve it. I don't see a ministry called Ministry of Livestock solving this problem whatsoever. By its name, it's already giving it a failure. Yes, exactly. The name already sounds like a failure to really solving the issue concerning farmers and herders. And I just hope that the government sit down and really rethink its strategy concerning this ministry.
But Rachel, if we're going to be honest with this, I mean, from September last year, we're in July. This is enough time for the government, almost getting to a year, for you to come up with a solution to what can we do. And just like you said, if really the government is honest and serious about solving the issue, we shouldn't be having just one party be favored here. Because I believe a number of Nigerians are sharing the same opinion as you do right now, because this is not about trying to see that we carry the farmers along, even though they have been the victim over the years.
They have
very few times have we heard that, okay, farmers will try to retaliate because they are tired of, tolerating this whole issue coming from herders. And then most time we hear that it's either maybe a farmer will decide to say, you know what, I'm tired of cattle eating my crops, so I will spray it. And then we see that the cattle die, and then there is another crisis, a problem spring up just because of that. So I really do not know the real reason, because this looks more like there's a hidden reason for this ministry. And the government will really not tell the entire nation what the reason is. But if really the reason for this is to actually solve this issue of this long-lasting crisis that has been going on, then I believe that, just like you said, that ministry needs to be renamed again so that everybody will know that, because nobody is more Nigerian than the other as it is presently. we are all Nigerians eventually. We all carry around our NIM. So is there anybody needs that is a special NIM number here? Of course not. So
Of course.
I am hoping that just like you said, the government will rethink their decision, and I hope that the president will also have the right committee and advice concerning this issue. Now, still talking about the issue of hunger and farmers, here we're having Senate is actually warning the federal government that, you know what, we're saying that there's going to be an impending protest because Nigerians are hungry, our silos are empty, there's no food in the reserve, and everything that is happening right now, if we do not do something about this, we will not love the reaction coming from Nigeria, because we're even hearing the former Senate President Ahmed Lawan Ahmed was mentioning the fact that, you know what, we shouldn't take Nigerians silent for them being ignorant of what is happening. We shouldn't take it for granted. It's either we do something about this. And we've said this a number of times here, Richard, the fact that sometimes we have leaders and you think because you're up there, it won't get to you. It will.
It will.
Because if you do not make the environment conducive for the poor masses, they will retaliate, and even the red chamber will be too hot for you people to sit there. So this is what we're seeing. The Senate is actually calling things need to be done, importation of food and all of that. I think it was yesterday or Monday where we're seeing that the removal of importation of foodstuff, the taxes applied to it for 150 days is actually there, even though their reactions and all of that, because it seems the aid have deleted that message. So a number of things are springing up concerning that.
Yes.
But then presently, the concern right now is the fact that there is hunger in the land. And what can the government do? Just like I told you, we've seen a number of circular coming the fact that there will be protests 1st to 10th of August. So this is more like, it might be a speculation, but believe you me, you never can tell what Nigerians are cooking. And just like I said, someone who is hungry gets angry. And when you're angry, the reaction is not something the government will actually love to see. Just like we had the hashtag, and so we saw what happened, even though it was SARS, but then it was beyond just the police brutality, was beyond bad governance and so many other things that were underlying there. So, that is what it is presently. So we're just hoping that the government will take this, concern coming from Senate.
On a lighter note, I'd just like to say, Sele, a hungry man can be an angry man, but I don't think a hungry man can protest, because you can't protest on an empty stomach. You can't take up the street. You're going to faint within a short period of time. And as long as Nigerians keep adjusting their lifestyle, I don't think we're going to protest, Sele, concerning the hunger. I think I've said this before, and it's still my opinion. We are so comfortable, Sele, with the situation of this country, and that's the truth. We have slogans like "Man go survive" and all of that. We'll find a way. I believe that when the government took away fuel subsidy abruptly, if Nigerians wanted the government to change their decision, we would have spoken, but we let it go. You don't need to wait 1 year later to know the effect of an abrupt fuel subsidy removal. You don't. When we saw the government floating an already weak currency, it's like feeding us to the lions when it comes to floating. How in the world would you give your currency that is already weak to be decided, toyed, played with, determined by investors and by importers and exporters? Why would you allow the market to decide your currency that is already weak? When you see policies that would directly affect your livelihood being made, and you keep quiet about it, because immediately it happened, immediately the prices of things in the market went high, immediately fuel went as high as 700, and all of that, it jumped more than 300%. In my opinion, if we couldn't talk at that time, you don't need to wait 1 month, 2 months to know this is a bad situation and there's going to be a lot of hardship. It's not now that food scarcity started. We're looking at months. We started this year. There are periods of time, Sele, we know, right, that when it is the beginning of the year, for example, tomato is cheap. We never had that in this year 2000, since the last quarter of 2023
23.
to the first quarter of 2000. We've never had a situation where this certain thing becomes cheap because it is season. And it is never like that in this country. No matter how bad it gets, there must be a point in time where certain things become more affordable and you move. But no, all we kept on witnessing was inflation and inflation, inflation over and over and over because of our monetary policies, and nobody has done anything. And I think that we are absorbing it all. And as long as we keep giving the government a long rope, Nigerians might just lament on the sidelines, but we are getting comfortable in our hardship. That is the honest truth. We are getting comfortable in our hardship. You know why? Because our leaders that are supposed to speak on our behalf are silent about it. They are not saying anything. They are doing nothing about it. We are seeing promises of 250,000 metric tons of grains to maize and wheat to come into the country. A good one for 4 good months. We're looking at 150 days without taxes, without excise duty and all of that. And all of a sudden you're canceling it and you're going back on it. And all of this and selling, nobody have said anything about it. When are we going to start speaking? In my opinion, Sele, we are very comfortable. And there might be speculations of a protest concerning the situation, but I don't think, and as long as we continue with the mindset that the Tinubu's administration is too young to judge it, we will still keep waiting, and it will be 2 years later. Well, it's just 2 years. He still have 2 more years to prove us wrong, and it's 3 years. No, there are some economic policies and decisions that you know on your own. At least if you go school, even if you know go school, Sele, even if you are just a common man that knows the market, that knows how things work, you have traded, you understand money, you understand business, you're supposed to be on your own. You don't have to wait for analysts to do certain things. But we sit down and we just keep giving long rope, knowing fully well what will be the outcome at the end of the day. I don't see a protest in the foreseeable future, honestly, Sele, if it is concerning hardship in the country.
You know, Rachel, I totally accept and I agree that, you know what, when you're hungry, there will be no strength, of course, protests. Totally true. But to say that Nigerians are comfortable with what is happening, just like you said, we might just be complaining. And I think that it's more like during the past 4 or 5 years, a fear has been instilled in the minds of Nigerians, and that is why I had to go back to the hashtag answers. Nigerians endured the whole thing until it got to, and Nigerians could no longer take it. And they felt, okay, you know what? There was no circular that said everybody in Nigeria were going on it. No. It just started with few individuals, and then other states started saying, you know what, this is making sense. Why don't we take it? And even got to the point that I got to the church when we had a prayer walk, saying the same thing about the fact that things need to change in Nigeria. We're tired of the killing. We're tired of the hunger. We're tired of brutality. The moment you speak out, it's as if there's already somebody somewhere waiting for a standby. DSS is on your head. And before you realize, you're taking up. And so there's this fear in the minds of Nigeria. But I think the reason why Senate is bringing it up, because the fear of what is happening in Kenya is beginning to get to them.
Sure.
And they are afraid that, you know what, with the way Kenyans are behaving, it's just a matter of time before we'll have a ripple effect in Nigeria, and Nigerians will say, you know what, enough is enough. We're tired of this. But are we saying that the government should be comfortable because Nigerians are not speaking? Of course not. It hurts a lot because the people who are suffering are the poor people. They're the poor masses who voted for you, and then you are not doing anything to make things comfortable. And we can still go back to the issue of the new ministry. What have we done about farmers to be comfortable to go back to their farm? For more than 10 years right now, it's not just now. Farmers have abandoned their farmlands because they better be alive and be hungry than to go to the farm and then end up being dead. So this is what is happening in the country. And just like you said, we might not see Nigerians taking placards on the road. We might just see labels saying, okay, this is it. So certain people will hide behind that. Or we will just hear Nas and Sanu saying, you know what, we are hungry, our arrears and all of that. But beyond that, what is the government doing? And that's why we've been pushing our lawmakers can be comfortable with the allowances of over 20-something million coming in.
Yes.
Even asking for hardship allowance, which you and I know that they do not know the definition of what it feels like to
Of
go through
course not.
hardship. But talk to a normal person, even if it's just a trader or artisan on the road, they will tell you what they are going through. That because, in fact, a number of people will prefer to just park their cars and even go to the plumber to fix it, because they better use that money to eat. So I'm hoping that the Senate will not just push the blame to the presidency, but to also know that they're also part of the problem we're facing. And they better do something about the fact that, you know what, Nigerians are hungry. You need to provide the food. How about the fertilizer? It's getting to how many months right now? Farmers are yet to see fertilizer. It will soon be, the rainy season will soon be over. So what do we need the fertilizer for? Is it for the irrigation farming? So we are hoping that they will do something in regards to that. Now let's just round it up with the issue of we've been talking about local government autonomy for a long period of time. We've seen Rivers State saying that, you know what, they are conducting their local government election. And we're also waking up to the fact that Plateau State is also working on that as well. So by October 9, they are planning to do the local government election, which I think is a welcome idea. And I remember during that of Rivers, we've been saying that, you know what, a number of states need to also take their initiative and conduct local government election. We're seeing where even the House this morning in the papers are saying that they should stop sending allocation, the federal allocation. They should hold it back and not send that of local government, because we've seen state governors, you know, hijacking that and all of that. But then I think with the move of conducting a local government election, that will help states to be able to know how governance would be running from the state level down to the local government area. Certain allocation that is meant for them should be there. And I think that will also give room to, you know, what development in the local government areas, because we know that caretakers, there are little or nothing they can do concerning the welfare of those in the local government area. But when we have chairmen and chairwomen, I believe that that will be able to put certain dimension and direction to the way things should be done there. So I think it's a welcome idea, and I hope that all that is needed to be done will be done. Beyond all things, I am hoping that it will be a peaceful election, because we know the way elections are in certain states. It's more like it's a time for who owns who between indigents and those who are just settling in the state. So this is just what it is as it is. But I'm hoping that the election will hold as it has already been stated for October.
So I was going to say something entirely different. However, come to think of it, if the federal government should tell state government that we are going to withhold your allocations for local government until every state that don't have a well-organized chairmanship for their local government and councils and all of that, no caretaker, no anything, before we'll be able to release your funds to you, don't you think governors will comply? And why I'm taking this angle, Sele, is because when we want certain things to work, there's so many ways to go about it. And this brings us back to the fact that I believe that we don't do our 100% in this country. Most especially when it comes to the things that will actually make us grow and all of that. Because I was just going to say, well, it's a good thing. Kudos to the states that want to do it. Let's see how Plateau State will be. Let the State Electoral Commission do their best. We don't want to see repeat of certain things and all of that. But as we were talking about the allocations, as you were talking about the allocations and how the state is holding it back and saying, we are not going to. Imagine if that was the standing policy concerning local government allocations. If a state is having caretaker committees, you are not getting this fund. Every governor will hold an election because they need this fund to come. And what that means is that whether or not, right, this money goes through the state government or not, but because there are local government chairmen and people in charge, you as the governor have to give them the funds to run their local government. Either way, things will move. No matter how slow it might be, things will move in the state. So if there is a will to do something, there's always a way, as you keep saying it, Sele. So I just hope that we wake up in this country and really find a way to make things work. It's not just about the election. It's making the local government work in Nigeria, and we need it to work badly, like seriously, because that is the only way we can start having development at the grassroots level, regardless of the worries and the concern and all of that, the autonomy and all of that. Put structures in place that even if the local government eventually have an autonomy, whatever is the worry about the state, what are your state laws concerning certain things? How would you sit down on a state government and put policies in place that will govern your fear and your concern, rather than out of your fear, your greed, your selfishness, stop the growth of development from the grassroots level? So yes, I am looking forward to this election. I am looking forward to the government taking drastic measures regarding local government. Let it not just stop at the elections, but furthermore making sure to see that development begins to happen at the local government areas.
Of course, and just like we keep saying that the evidence of democracy is when we see elections holding.
Yes.
That is to say that the people actually have the right to decide who will govern a particular place. So just like you said, it should be, I'm just hoping it should be mandated. You must conduct elections, whether you like it or not. But that is just it is. I mean, we don't have the willpower. Our political will in this country is very, very poor. No wonder things. Everybody does what he feels or what she feels like doing, especially when it comes to governor. But we'll keep our fingers crossed. Already campaigns will be starting for Plateau State. They said on Friday by 12. I mean, you can start your campaign for the various political parties and all of that. So timetables are already out concerning campaigns, primaries, and all of that. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and we hope that everybody will be peaceful and law-abiding during this. Oh, thank you so much, Rachel.
You're welcome, Sally.
And thank you to our viewers and every other person who made the program a success. We look forward again to you doing this tomorrow. Please do have a great day ahead.